Okay, you may have seen from my last movie that I mentioned that Jimmy Paine had emailed me a bunch of emails with links to his movies, which then he explained that his computer had gone down. And so at the time, I didn't look at the Super Soldier Talk channel on YouTube in James Rink's movie menu. And I didn't notice at that time, I think it was like three weeks ago, something like that, that actually I don't want to make trouble or speculate because I don't want to cause a problem because, like I said, I have pretty good respect for both of these gentlemen, James Rink and Jimmy Paine. I didn't want to cause a problem because I had talked with Jimmy Paine in depth, but he suddenly emailed me out of the blue with all these links to his movies on Rumble, which are still up, but the movies on James Rink's YouTube channel from Jimmy Paine have all been taken down. Yeah, and I don't know how many others of his got taken down, because I remember at one time like a whole bunch of his movies got taken down. But I think it was I don't think it was YouTube. I'll just put it that way. And for whatever reason, James felt it was necessary to delete a bunch of them. And I don't want to over speculate there, but you can, as you know, he works part time for, as a super soldier, and something might have occurred in regards to that, and he had to be, whatever. But now it looks to me, because a lot of his movies are still up at his YouTube channel, but I just noticed that the Jimmy Paine movies are missing, which is kind of a little bit telling too, if that's the case, if it wasn't just like a mass deletion, because I went back in time to way back, when Jimmy Paine first started posting, and all of those original movies gone. The one about the xenomorph, because I uploaded a condensed, kind of shortened, edited version, but still contains everything, the whole story. I just made it a little bit more concise. And so that really important one, and the Predator one, I had versions of those already uploaded to my channel. But when I noticed that his entire collection, it's actually about 15, maybe, no, I'm sorry, about 20 movies, so they're gone from YouTube, which is I guess, and I looked through the emails that Jimmy had sent me, and it wasn't clear that that's what happened. So I had thought the reason why is because his computer went down. Okay, and he had to buy a new computer. He told me he had to buy a new computer. So so now, but seeing that all of those have been deleted, those important records, I quickly checked Rumble, and they're still up. So Rumble does free speech. It could have been that YouTube deleted. I don't know. Maybe it was YouTube that deleted them. In which case, if I try to re-upload them, I'm going to have a problem. But anyway, that's my plan, is to try that, because as I was telling Mr. Paine, that the traffic at Rumble is tiny compared to what it is on YouTube, and it's just a shame that a whole generation of YouTube watchers couldn't get the record on this. There's in my opinion, now don't get me wrong, there's incredible testimonies at the Super Soldier Talk channel in its complete form, which I think is you're going to see it a lot more on Rumble. So look up Super Soldier Talk on Rumble, the Rumble platform. But and there's incredible movies, but the Jimmy Paine, there's nothing like it. This goes beyond anything. In fact, I mean, I've uploaded some stuff, certain clips out of James Rink's work, but I've never uploaded like a complete one, except for the Joseph Powell testimony. In this one particular testimony, talking about the Draco reptilian, because that was specifically what I was focusing on my channel, the reptilians. So, and some of you are going to want to know. Now, I was thinking possibly about starting another channel to do this, but it's a little bit problematic. There's a few issues with that. First of all, um, so they'll know it's me. As there's no like like trying to because my channel is very controlled, highly shadow banned, as you guys know. These tiny view counts, which means that of my 90,000 subscribers, not too many of them are either getting my links or getting seeing my movies come up in their feed, and or I will acknowledge also I am not very popular. I'm not one of these popular type people, so I don't get a lot of traffic anyway, but it's also highly closed off. So the only bummer, even if I do upload my channel, is that they're not going to get as much traffic. But if I try to start a new channel to avoid that, there's no doing that without them knowing. Zero chance they won't know right away. First of all, people that are targets like me, they monitor 24/7. They do not need any technology to do so. They have it, and in most cases you might think that they don't have it, but they don't need any technology whatsoever to do that. Not only do they have remote viewers, but they have what? Complete cooperation of their servants in the demonic realm. So they can talk to the demons that dwell in you, what your thoughts are, because they have an AI hooked up to your thoughts as well, in case you didn't know that. I can tell you firsthand, that's not speculation, that's 100% verified. They have an AI hooked up to your thoughts. And if you have a thought that they want to, like, the algorithm or however the AI, the machine computer works, will gang stalk you based on your thoughts. Yeah. Or give you some sort of, harassment, gang stalk, targeting thing, whatever. But in any case, even so, people will have access to my channel, and people want to refer to it, so it'll be there. And I know now some of you who are close followers of the scripture, and you should be. If you're not, the scripture tells us, and I've talked about this before, in Proverbs, it says, "Let your waters flow abroad." I'm just broadly interpreting here. But what that means is let your messages, which now is social media, go abroad. And it says, "And not another's with thee," is the point I want to get to here about uploading somebody else's stuff with me. However, now I think in this case I'm not. This isn't that, because first of all, Jimmy Paine is not. Yes, he's another, but obviously he's not a preacher. I mean, he does have religious views, but he doesn't talk about them very much. Okay, he is a Paiute. Okay, Indian. His religion is the Paiute religion. Okay, which I don't know very much about, but given the very interesting fellow that Mr. Paine is, it's probably pretty interesting, and I know something about some elements of Native American traditions, and they're very interesting and wise, interesting items to them. So again, I'm not one of these people that poo-poos other people's faith because they're not my faith, even though our faith does tell us that different spiritual things that would lead people away from God's one method of salvation are severely condemned. That is the fact. But that being said, for instance, the Buddhists that I ran into in Thailand, I mean, these people were incredible, especially the master monk that I ran into, this guy who ended up giving his life for the angel. And he had gotten a message from God when he was 12 to rebuild a monastery and wait for the princess that would come. And I was there witnessing the whole thing, or I should say, I had to be here in Babylon, but I got all the messages that God wanted me to know and follow in that whole situation, and have a relationship with this angel and all those people, including the master monk and his apprentice, who actually ended up being a lawyer for my Anna, and all these other fascinating people, the Japanese cop, and all this stuff, amazing stuff. And so just getting back though to Jimmy Paine, is that I'm I'm doing this because first of all he asked me to, and at the time I didn't quite get what he was saying until 3 weeks later I was making another movie, and because he had given me authorization to talk about some of our, because we had, like I said, we had an email conversation outside of that, a few conversations outside of that, and he gave me authorization to talk about that and that one element out of that phone conversation that we had with James Rink there, talking about the predator, a friendly predator type being that was at Area 51, and they had done a mold of his actual face to make the model that was actually used for the movie The Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, I actually hadn't even gotten around to listening to his latest Star Trek one, so I'm looking if I just started watching The Search for God. But I'm gonna see. Like I said, I don't know. It may be that YouTube banned him for whatever reason, or something or other, and or I don't. I tried contacting James, but he hasn't gotten back to me, and I don't know. Maybe because he can't talk about this issue, so that's why he's not contacting me, or maybe the CIA or whatever, Satan's control over the media is blocking my messages to him. I never know when they're doing that. So whatever the reason is, he's not. I haven't heard back from him, so I don't know. He might object or whatever. But those movies are still up at Rumble, so they're still up on the internet. You can still find them. Like I said, go to the Super Soldier Talk on Rumble, and you can watch them there. But they're not on YouTube, as far as I know, unless somebody else made a mirror of those movies. But it's fascinating to me. I actually was able to determine, talking with Jimmy, I asked him, I said, are you talking with anybody else about this kind of stuff? Like, is there anybody else intelligent that you're talking with about this? And he said no. So it blows that the rarity of people that can withstand this information is another one of the things that just blows my mind about all this. I mean, it's just absolutely, because I would think that maybe they can't believe it, or I should be more reasonable and say they don't believe it. But because ultimately in the end I don't know. Of course, as you know, I've decided that his testimony is true. I believe in him right from the get-go. But I could be wrong. But I don't think so. And like I said, I can also tell a lot whether somebody's full of it by having a conversation with them. Like I said, I was able to tell from that Maxwell Chukwumbutso, his reply when I asked some kind of hard questions, weren't the reply of someone that I think was honest. I could be wrong, but it was pretty clear. I'll just put it that way. So like I said, but even just listening, to the man talk in his videos, but also, like I said, I talk with him over the phone with James Rink, and so I know he's a real person and everything. There's no BS, AI duplicating his voice, and I talk with him with email, and you get a sense. I had a significant number of back and forths in emails with Jimmy Paine, and I can tell his personality. So at least a lot. I can tell a lot, and I'm saying he's the real thing, and that record should be there. That's important stuff. So it could be that for whatever reason James had to delete him, and or possibly YouTube. I doubt it. I don't think YouTube deleted him, because there was nothing there that would have been an issue. So at least as far as I know, certain thing NAZI, if you mentioned that, apparently was a problem for some folks that were paying attention. Any excuse that YouTube has that you give them, saying the wrong thing about the pandemic, all this stuff, you can get, or anything that they can label hate speech. Or if really it's pretty willy-nilly, they can delete it, but they do tend to kind of go by rules. So if they made it clear that your ass is grass if you say anything more about the pandemic and you continue on, people like Carrie Cassidy, forever gone from YouTube, now she has a paywall behind her work and I can't hear all the interesting new stuff that she has, and people like James Corbett, of the Corbett Report, forever gone from YouTube. Dan Dix, but those two people, Kerry Cassidy and James Corbett, continued to talk about the and the things that occurred during the pandemic of 2020, 2020 through 2022, basically, and they got kicked off. So, but I don't think that's the case here with Jimmy's movies. I think that I think what and also I think the, shall we say, the home altar of James. When I was talking with him, he also called me on the phone. We had an extended, I had kind of a more lengthy talk with James, and but what I gather is that, like I said, his shall we say, other altar that works as a super soldier may have and certain things may have occurred, and there was some memory loss, and maybe his other altar did something, or he was controlled, whatever. I like I said, I don't want to make trouble with him or disrespect. I don't know what the story is. Bottom line to it is, looks like probably he deleted those movies for whatever reason, and maybe obviously the James Rink that is the home altar, I'll just call it the home altar, that we all know from his videos, wouldn't necessarily want that, but he's not necessarily, or not as much, in a position to do that much about it, because they got him under control. By the way, James, in case you're listening, I recommend being a Christian, and you can switch kings, and if you switch kings, there's all kinds of things that my king can do for you. In case, if you didn't know, that's Jesus Christ, and you can say a simple prayer and ask if you can join the team. Remember, while you live, it's not too late. Okay? Once you die, it's too late. Because after we die, then comes the judgment, as the scripture tells us. So while you live, you still have an opportunity to choose. I would say that once again, so passionately to whom I consider a friend, or at least I'll say I like him. I would be a friend to him if he wanted. He keeps a professional distance, so and maybe I don't know, but I think it's because in his situation and all he's been through and security issues and whatnot. I'm talking about Jimmy Paine now. He can't really be buddies with people too much, and or I'm not one of those people for him. It was just, I was lucky to be able to talk with him, and he was willing to talk with me. But like I said, these things are for a limited time. I'm not talking to him now, so I don't know. Like I said, he had to switch. He had to stop talking with me. He said for security reasons. I don't know. He said that a couple of times, like I said, and then he suddenly emailed me back a bunch of emails with links to his movies, because all of his movies got taken down from James' site. So I just sent in a follow-up email that he's not answering anymore, apparently for security reasons. Switching to a new email, and he says to contact James Rink if I wanted to contact him. So that's why I'm not talking with Jimmy Paine right now, currently. But I told him, I said in an email, I said, my prediction is that we'll still be talking in the future, but I could be wrong. That was the last I was able to communicate with him. But even so, whatever the case is, and if others, Christians, get mad at me and say, well, you're cozying up or trying to be buddy with people that are clearly not going to be friends of the Lord. Okay, but that's not the way I see it. I look at it as this is earth-shattering information. It's very eye-opening. Joseph Powell and many of the others, a lot of people that Randy Kramer, that I don't think Randy Kramer's ever been on the Super Soldier Talk channel. In fact, I don't remember seeing him. For whatever reason, he didn't do an interview with James, but it would seem like a perfect venue. He did talk with Kerry Cassidy, and so he's got his interviews there. But this is information. This is to me, this is stuff that this is interesting. This is what's interesting to me. I'm interested in what's beyond our atmosphere, even though I found out from the angel that what we see out of our atmosphere is not what's really out there. As I'll say it again, I have no way to confirm this, but he said that the sun and the moon orbit Earth, and all of that orbits the tree of life. And I don't know what the tree of life is supposed to be, but he says that it's like a cycle, and he said that there's been 7 whole cycles, like ages of man, in which all these, and after each age, the surface civilization gets destroyed, so that when the new age comes about, it's kind of like starting fresh. So there isn't all the old stuff of Atlantis and Mu or whatever the previous age was, to interfere with a new age, because I think what happens is man develops technology over time, and then certain things or whatever that interfere with what I believe is taking place is the experiences of souls that need to develop here. That's the whole point of this thing.